everyone. Sorry for a little bit of the delay there in going live. Here we are live here with our first stream of 2018. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. It is the first stream from us, and obviously we have quite a lot to talk about that has happened, obviously, over Christmas, and now, of course, leading into the new year. The year ahead video we brought out, the poll we released as well. And joining us for this, I have, first of all, to my right, Mod Braben, and to my left, Mod Osborne, and then Mod Ryan. We're going to be having Mod Kelpie join us later on as well, so I guess now for him.
Better things to do.
So, first of all, do you all have a lovely Christmas, New Year?
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about work and what I can...
You were in work. I think that's the bit. Don't find like kids.
Oh, you looked. And yeah, I was just looking at what I want to do for 2018. But no, otherwise, yeah, I had a good Christmas. The normal, you know, the great Christmas dinner and stuff.
I think we all assumed that we were all thinking about work. But also, we moved house on the 19th, so there was this kind of crazy trying to do Christmas, that, and work at the same time was problematic.
I wasn't thinking about work. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I was entertaining a 5-year-old, so that took all of my attention.
Didn't even know him.
I had to play the same memory board game so many times. You don't know. So many times.
Did you have a good one?
Yeah.
Of course you had a really good one.
Yeah, I had a really...
Congrats, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, announcing we have a little child on the way. So.
A little Shawnee?
A little Shawnee on the way.
Mod Mark has a grandson.
Yeah, it was amazing. It really was. So obviously, just getting into it. We have LootScape active for the stream, and we have a new prize, I guess is the right word for it, for this one. I think we have a picture of it. It's called the LootScape. So we're very original with our names. So we'll bring this up now. And when you get your loot chest, then you open it, and there's a chance you can get it. Now, if you're an Iron Man, you won't, of course, get the chest, but it'll just roll the chance for you, and you might get it, you might not. So good luck on that one.
Yeah, I like it.
Right, let us jump into the survey for 2017. So first of all, can we kind of summarise why we did this survey, first of all?
Yeah, I think we've done it several years in the past, in some form.
Yeah.
Just kind of have that little moment to take stock, look back at the updates and see what went well and what didn't. And it was, like invariably something surprises us. Of what players think is the top update. I don't know if have we got.
Yeah, we have the images. We'll bring them up on stream, and then obviously we'll talk about them.
I don't know if people managed to see them as they ended.
These are the results that finished. I believe it was on the 4th. I might be wrong. I think it was when we closed there. So we'll bring them up in order. So the first image, it might be a little bit difficult to see. Hello, we have an image here, I guess. I wasn't expecting that, but hey, you can see it. If you can't see it that well. In order, I'll just read the top 3 for you. What was your favourite update this year? The top update was Menopause at 17%, Skill Cape Perks at 16%, and then the Luck Rework at 12%. Now, were we surprised by Menopause being the top one? I'm sorry, Raven, you just have been cut out by an image
It's
here.
fine.
Yeah, were we surprised by Menopause being the top one? There we go.
Like the way his head crests, just look back to the freezer. That's lovely.
But yeah, are we surprised by Menopause being the top one in that one? This was obviously an answer. This is a poll where you could only give one answer, just to clarify.
So my view on it is, I'm actually, there's a bit of both, kind of surprised and not. I think that something to go by is like Menopause is a very, like one word for many like sort of smaller updates, all encompassed in one thing. At the time it is what we called an expansion. So I think that we are interested in knowing like from when Menopause, what are the specific parts people enjoy? Solo, is it the soul altar? Is it the various interactions? Is it the quest? There's many things in there. So it was a surprise, but at the same time, I think that it does a lot of justice by seeing the fact that that is more than just one update. Like Menopause, it looks very basic, but that's not that's not a small.
You
update.
almost want to break it down.
Yeah.
I think, of course, reception wasn't great, not hugely great for Menopause. The team obviously kind of felt a bit like beaten up by launch. To have this at the end of the year was a little bit nice. I mean, we want to find out a bit more. Obviously, there is a touch of what you were saying, that it was an update that kind of catered to everybody, and that's obviously going to filter into it. But still, the team feel a little bit more of a validation for what they did.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to the next question, if we can, which is the same question again, but it was a multiple choice answer, so you could pick however much you wanted. The top one for this was Skill Cape Perks, followed by Luck Rework and then Menopause. So same Luck Rework and Menopause in again, but this time, of course, Skill Cape Perks coming up with the top. Now, Do we have any assumptions as to why that is?
I think it's worth mentioning like something we noticed with was it the top 6?
Can I confirm?
It might be in the last question actually. Within the top 6, if you take out Menefos, the other 5 were like updates that don't actually add content for you to play through.
Skill kit perks, luck rework, combat pets, and then there's
drop collections.
Yeah, the stackable urns and drop collections.
So none of these are things that you work through. It's not a story you play through. It's not a boss you fight. It's not content to consume. It's stuff that just kind of enriches the stuff. I'm saying stuff too much. Enriches the gameplay that you've already got, and that's obviously that's damning a little bit of maybe the content that is more substantive and that you can play through, but it's also showing that we don't necessarily always have to drag you away from the stuff you like to play. And that's a little bit of a learning for us because they all went down really well. Why not do some things more along those lines?
I think that as well as I've mentioned that a lot of those updates, although as you said, they aren't necessarily new content, they cover the whole game for the most part. You know, luck rework. Anyone that does any form of combat that wants to, make use of this, they can. Combat pets as an example, any form of combat, you get involved. And obviously skill kit perks. If at any point in the game you own at least 199, you benefit from this update. It's quite I quite like that as updates, and I'm not surprised that some of those are quite high for that one.
I think it's also worth mentioning that a lot of those are either, or both, personal projects from an individual developer, so a passion project they really want to make, or created by players, like initiated by the players in terms of the idea.
Skill kit perks and luck rework in particular.
I think there's a good reason for that.
Yep. Which of these do you feel, now obviously this is a very contentious question, multi-choice answers here, so which of these do you feel should be our priorities in 2018? We'll bring that up now, the top 3 again, just to go from this. Skill and content was first, followed by skill reworks, and then quests. So skills dominate there, first and second, and followed by quests. I mean, any surprises there on that one at all?
I think it's in line with something that me and Mod Ryan talked a lot about.
Ryan.
Reveal your true name. Has been talked about with skilling that actually we've stopped making, weirdly, just like a rock or a tree or like a farming patch and things like that. We've feature creeped a lot of our contents that it is quite large, and really we can inject something that just changes up routine. And I think 2018 is when we're really going to try and put that into motion. And obviously skilling reworks also, we haven't really launched our first one, so there's still that hunger for it.
And obviously quests as well. I think it's safe to say quests is always going to feature up there. I think. I mean, we can actually see it now, so you can actually talk about this one, so that'd be handy. But about quests and obviously, players get involved there. I mean, I think that's expected in that regard.
I think we agree that we've probably not done as many quests as we would like. Certainly one of the things I've been discussing with his players is we've been doing lots of really big quests. I say lots, we've been doing really big quests. And really big quests take a lot of time. One of the things I've been talking about is the idea of actually we can do a few smaller, more personal quests that tell a good story, quests that break up the routine but aren't necessarily something massive that you work towards. And I think there's a good hunger for that, and I think that means that there's more scope to be able to do stuff like that.
I think certainly if you talk to story players, they want kind of regular injections and progressions of our lore. And we haven't really done that. It's come in big chunks. And also, it's worth noting that expansions was meant to be our delivery method for story. We're going to have big ideas of doing 3 or 4 quests per expansion. They were going to come quarterly. That all kind of tumbled down.
I've seen a lot with the Stalker Creatures update on yesterday. With just the lore book that Mod Meadows actually wrote. There's a lot of people that are talking about it saying they really enjoyed learning more about it, and even just that, the lore book is a nice bit of story, but we could expand that and make a small quest. It doesn't have to be something huge, and it's we can do a lot with a little bit of story knowledge.
Certainly I've spoken to people about just wanting to inject more lore into the game. Lore as a reward has been a thing that a few people are interested in.
Or something has a place in the world. You understand why it is there because it's got the theming and narrative that makes sense, and we could do more of that too.
All right, next one, we'll bring up the image again. Sorry, Raven, I'm going to have to throw it over you again. What was your favourite quality of life update this year? Top 3 for that was skill and outfits in-game. We can just about peer over that, so there you go. Skill and outfits in-game, followed by Revolution upgrade, and then the buff and debuff bar updates. So there are others on there as well, but any surprises on that one at all? Or anything
I don't know how much to talk about skilling outfits. We were just chatting about this beforehand.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to get in trouble for talking about it. We should have really organised this beforehand. The idea of skinning outfits coming from promos, so Treasure Hunter.
So that's elite skilling outfits.
Elite
Just,
skilling
yeah,
outfits.
elite skilling
Yeah,
outfits,
that's it. So new ones we are not going to be doing in any more promos.
So we're not doing any more.
So
any
Herblore
future
summoning, all of
outfits,
these ones
whatever,
that people have been looking
are not going to be from promos.
No, so what that means is we start talking about whether or not that should, what in-game content to
Wow,
do them
okay.
with. And so maybe we'll start doing projects that are yeah, exactly. So if you want to take a project to do that, yeah, we'll do them at a cadence that we like. I know I want my summoning one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have plenty of ideas for many different outfits, and if you're saying we'll put them on our backlog, it's something we can. Release. It's a nice bit of reward space as well, that we can find a nice place for that in game.
Speaking of obviously skilling outfits as well, we've got the add-ons as well, obviously coming very soon as well. Is that correct? Just to clarify.
Yeah, base skilling outfit head add-ons.
This month.
Yeah.
Yes.
This month.
Yeah, that's it. As well as the divination outfit.
Yeah, as well as the elite divination outfit.
Yeah. So obtainable in game. Yeah.
Obtainable in game. Yeah.
Awesome.
So obviously there will still be the fact that the other ones that are already from promos, they will be trickling into the game as usual. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Next up, which ninja fixes did you enjoy in 2017? There's a multiple choice answer. Again, I'll just mention the top 3 here, which were, first of all, in number 1, luck improvements, notification messages, the Slayer counter extended information, and the addition of a permanent gold accumulator. So, I'll be honest, nice. It's good to see the perm gold accumulator so high. It also makes me wonder if we could have got it out even earlier. That would have been nicer as well.
Yeah, it would have been. It's interesting that the top 2 are really kind of aspirational stuff, like some of the luck elements are like really kind of top end. Your Hazelmere's, and obviously perm accumulator is 1.5 mil tokens or bills?
Yeah, 1.5
I think
digi tokens. Yeah.
This is a good example of what Osborne was saying earlier about the top 5 updates. Some of the top updates that people said were their favourite are not exactly new content, but they have a use, like a quite big use. This is also the same for these ninja fixes. Luck is in there, and also the addition of a gold accumulator. It's not necessarily something that you interact with for more than a couple of seconds of buying it. It's a passive thing that helps for the rest of your actual gameplay, whether that's Slayer or bossing and stuff. So yeah, it's a very good ninja fix to just get out as soon as we could. So.
I think it's also worth highlighting that, when we did Unfinished Business, we said we're going to double the Ninja team. And it showed, there's some good stuff here. And people can often forget that there is that extra resource there. And
then finally, we asked, what was your favourite event for this year? And then we had, again, top 3 here. The Christmas event, the Balthazar's raffle, and then followed by the Countdown to Menopause. Now, obviously, Christmas event had only just happened at the time we ran the poll, so that might explain its high
Yeah, you
value.
got recency bias a bit there. Perhaps. I mean, that's unfair on the
Christmas. Absolutely it is. But, I mean, raffle being quite high as well, all things considered.
Yeah, because ostensibly it was, it was a bit of a rerun.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know. And I think we sat there kind of planning this year, and we'd like to do more with the raffle rather than just rerun it. Like, if we like it and it's working well, then let's get better individual items that you can gain from it. Let's make interacting with it more fun and interesting. So yeah, I'm passionate about that.
Awesome. Right. Okay. So let's get into this then.
Yeah.
Let's get into January and so on. I got something here which just says general question: what are living games? I don't know. It's just what I would.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't know how much I should have prepared for this one, but yeah, Jagex has been looking for a kind of identity for itself. We're really kind of talking about the games that we make and what we'd like to make for the future, like not just now, but in 5 years' time. And the term we kind of come to is living games. You often hear other games will do live games. Games as a service is often what it's done, but we want living games to kind of constantly grow and evolve as you play them. That's not only that we will add content, escalate it over the course of a period of time, but we'll have events and we will be, very much in touch with what players want through survey work. Players can come and find each other. We create a space. It's almost like we're just curators of a space that people can come and play in. So all of our games will share that identity, and this is very much this kind of brand of living games that we want to own, as it were. I don't know. I didn't realise that so many people knew that term. Actually, it surprised me from the questions. But yeah, that's very much a kind of in-house thing that we think about whenever we create a new game. That we want it to be a living game, not just a live game.
All right, let's get into this. Ryan, I'm going to come over to you. Stalker Creatures, you mentioned, obviously released yesterday.
Yep.
What's your general feel of how they're going down from what you've seen anyway?
So I think it's going well. I tweeted about this yesterday saying we are watching. We don't want to do the knee-jerk reactions and stuff straight away. There are obvious concerns with like overcrowding and stuff, but this is kind of the sort of thing that happens. We release a new update, everyone wants to take part, so you'd go there. But overall, no, I think it's going quite well. It does. It's sort of introduced something that we probably haven't seen in RuneScape for a long time, which is a really unique item coming from Slayer that is really rare. Because back in the day, an Abyssal Whip was the go-to item. Of course, they aren't particularly rare, but this, the Hex Hunter bow, we want to create it. We want to create an item that has a really good niche, and we want to make it so that from Slayer, whilst you're still doing a Slayer task as normal, there is a chance you could get this slight moment where you get that drop, and it is currently it is worth a lot of money. Unlike a lot of the more common Slayer items, they're a lot less. So we were trying something new, I guess, something old from 5-10 years ago. But yeah, it's I think it's going well.
I'm going to talk about the Stalker Gland really quickly. Is the Stalker Gland part of the 4 content exclusives for Premier Club 2018?
So it's not.
No, it's not.
No.
Right. Okay.
So this is a perk for getting Premier Club. When we were talking about the this kind of 4 things that you are getting over the course of the year, these are bespoke elements, perhaps cosmetics. We haven't really started talking about that yet, but this is just a side benefit. It's a lovely side benefit.
Gotcha. All right, I'm going to come over to, and again, just come over to you again, Ryan, really quickly. Elder Divination outfit and Skilling outfit head add-ons, all of that's obtainable in-game from when that update hits, yes?
Yep, so that update will be hitting at the end of January. So yeah, that will be all the skill outfit head add-ons. They'll be coming to game via the same means in which you can earn the skilling outfits. So this is things like from ceremonial swords, 100% for the smithing, I can't think of any others, cooking from Gnome Restaurant, those sorts of things. And the elite outfit will be obtainable via the fragment system.
So doing divination, getting fragments.
Yep.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to come over to you, Moderaven, for so let's get endgame replayability.
Yes.
Let's talk about this. We have a little section where we are on the computers, but I kind of want to talk about it really quickly before you head on there. So, in a nutshell, just to bring people back up to speed, what is the idea of the replayability? What's it going to be providing?
So the original version of Endgame was designed with replayability in mind, which is why there's the different interactions you can encounter, why your choices affect which interactions you get. There's a bunch of stuff under the hood. But we weren't able to launch with that due to various technical issues at the time. What we've done with replayability is in TAP, got it finished off and up and working, and then we've finally been able to source the QA time to actually get it done. So what it does is, one, it gives you a second canon playthrough if you encountered bugs in the first time through or anything like that, because there were a couple of issues.
Yep.
So if you don't like your first playthrough, you can have a second canon playthrough, which all your new choices become that. On non-canon playthroughs, you can choose various elements. So you can choose the interactions you can encounter. You can swap out that whole massive maze into a lore maze, which is literally a interaction room followed by an interaction room, followed by an interaction room. Maze isn't quite right. Corridor is probably more appropriate.
Can I have that as my canon playthrough?
No. I'm not that nice. I did debate the idea of putting in a smaller first maze, and then I thought, no, I'm not a nice person, and so I didn't. You can replay all of the quest, so you can everything from the beginning all the way through. You can skip the opening bit with the individual gods if you just want to jump straight to the lore interactions, and you can skip the fight at the end if you want to. There's a XP reward if you don't skip, but you get it even if you play the lore maze. So if you skip the maze but do everything else, you'll get an XP reward. It's nowhere near the XP reward you got for completing the original quest.
It's not good XP per hour. It's not something we can bounce.
It's not good XP per hour. It's yeah, for those who want to play through it and want to get that feeling and want to see the different actions, it gives you something for your time, basically. And to we've also added in as a slight kind of apology for it taking a bit longer than we wanted. There's a cosmetic outfit in there called the Agent of the Eldest outfit that we've put in.
What's the story behind that? Is that something you can...
The original story was there was a piece of concept art actually for a certain NPC that we did, and we decided not to use it for that particular character. We went with a different approach, a much more kind of arm-wavy, tentacle in the sky approach. But Mod Connor walked past and went, "Yes, I want this! Make it so!" So we did.
He has so much power.
He has so much power.
You're sat all the way on the end of a row, and for him to have walked past and see, how did he see that?
He saw it on someone else's screen. It
Oh,
wasn't
right,
my screen.
okay. I was going to say, wow.
He just saw the
very...
concept art, and the original plan was it to be an Easter egg.
Okay.
So on replay throughs, we were going to hide an NPC that you could just see if you had your camera in the right place, and if you spotted them all enough times, you would then unlock it. But
It's the Ravenspawn.
Ravenspawn.
it was a Ravenspawn equivalent, but this time
Not
we
again.
decided to convert it into thank you for replaying it. It'll only appear on your non-canon playthrough, but also again if you don't skip. But then you'll get it.
So obviously non-canon. Have
Yeah.
you used this as an opportunity to include any goofy stuff?
No.
Yes.
I would never do such a thing. There aren't at all certain options if you have the Ravenspawn title.
Oh, there we go then. MQC requirements at all for this? Are there any MQC requirements in regards to replaying at all?
No, just once
cool.
you've completed it, just play it. Yeah, I've not put it on the cape deliberately.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to ask you to head over to the computer.
Yes.
And you can show us your section in a moment.
I'm really hoping it's not just going to replace LootScape's endgame.
No, they're doing it from start to finish.
That's the plan. We've got several hours, right?
I'm not sure that's why this is a longer live stream.
I mean, I've said a
Raven.
5-minute slot, so, you know.
Yeah, he has a 5-minute slot, so I'm not sure how...
He can bend time, though. He has an event horizon.
What?
What? Are you good to go, Raven?
Give me a second.
I presume he's logging in, which is all good. And just to clarify as well, we have obviously a lot more to talk about in regards to January, February, and beyond is a lot. But, I mean, before we dig into some of these topics, because obviously we'll be talking for a while, it'd be nice to see what Raven has planned for us. So I'm going to assume he's good to go. So I'm going to throw it over to him. And Raven, what have you got for us?
Hello, right. So here we are, here's lovely Rolomia. I'm just going to take you very quickly through it. I'm not going to play all of Endgame. I'm also deliberately not going to show you the outfit because I'm a horrible person. But I'll just give you an idea of the sort of things you can do. So if you talked to Rolomia as before, if you've completed Endgame, you can now have the option of replace this case Endgame as well as post-quest dialogue. This gives you this interface. So I'll walk you through the interface basically so you can see you've got a number of things. You can replace the maze with interactions only. This means you're now playing the story maze or the lore maze, which is literally just a series of interaction rooms until you reach the end. It's basically a corridor. The reason for doing this is so you can do this, which is so there are 14 possible interaction rooms that I could set up, and you can choose every single interaction possible in every single order possible. So you have to set all of them just because it needs the information, but you can. I'm just going to randomly pick them. But you can set any combinations you like in any order you like, regardless of how you did things before.
Can't I just have an all button?
No, you can't play all of them because I couldn't fit them in.
Oh, right, okay.
So you have to choose. You have to choose, I'm afraid, but you can choose the ones you want. It's also the reason for doing this is also so that you can set them so that halfway through here, you'll go into the second maze, which isn't actually a second, well, it is a second maze, but four. And you'll be able to choose which god won it. So you know how before when you ran through, you get to choose who gets their entourage evicted? You can choose it this way around. So you get that choice regardless of what happens. If you haven't done it, it'll give you a warning thing here. You can choose to make this your second canon playthrough. If you do this, you only get to do this once. So choose wisely. That's the camera. But your choices will be changed. You'll get everything different. It'll work. There's a couple of tweaks of dialogue based on player feedback. Key point being, if you decide that you want to side with Zaros, he might not, threaten you quite so much anymore. I've tweaked it based on things. But as well as that, you can also change some other things. So here you can see a number of choices that affect various dialogue and various bits and bobs in Endgame. these won't matter if you choose. If you're doing a second canon, these can't be changed. But again, this is for a non-canon playthrough. You can say that you sided with Zamorak at the Battle of the Lumbers rather than Saradomin, or you can say you sided with Bandos, etc. You can choose which of these things you did or didn't do.
Can you explain a canon playthrough?
Huh?
Can you explain
the canon playthrough is the playthrough that the game will remember going forward. So your non-canon playthroughs are effectively what ifs or the fan fiction that the game runs for you, which are these are not real things. They didn't actually happen to your character. These things haven't actually happened, but you can see all the interaction that could have happened. In a canon playthrough, what you do matters. What you do defines any interactions we have going forward. Does that make sense? Okay, good.
Can you replay boss fights?
You can replay all of the boss fights in the quest, yes. If you choose to do the replace maze with interactions only, you can skip straight to the bit outside the heart. So you have your first boss fight with Nomad, and you can continue all the way through, have all the combat therein. Or you can skip the boss fights if you really want to. Yeah. There's a bunch of changes under the hood as well. I've tweaked the rate at which the gods get to the end. I've tweaked some of the dialogue. The maze is still the same as it was. I was going to change it, make it smaller, and then I realised that everyone spent all that time writing those lovely guides, so it seems a tad mean to make them rechange that, so I haven't. Yeah. That's pretty much all that's worth I think I can show.
Transparent camera there. All right, awesome. Thank you, Raven.
That's much bigger than I thought it was.
There's a lot there. A lot of choices. So I mean, for anyone who loves certain factions, then they can play out all the scenarios there and stuff like that. It's really nice, really cool. Right, let's jump into this. We've got a lot to talk about. I'm going to go through the year ahead video in sections here, obviously everything that we mentioned. So let's talk about the Backrimmel Bolt. I guess is how you said that, how you pronounce it properly. But couple of questions here. First of all, are the new bolts going to be tradable?
Don't know. So I don't know the answer to that one.
You know when I said that I'd ask look up every question?
Yeah, you said you'd answer every question.
Yeah,
you totally just...
I'd look at...
This is why we have scripts.
I know. I did it for the section after this, so we'll ask Mod Pie.
That's me. All right, we'll ask Mod Pie.
But Criminal Bolts is coming out though, and it looks really good.
Oh, very good. Very good. Okay. And obviously, we kind of showed this off, I believe in November, the content showcase. Not the bolts, just to clarify. I'm jumping on something else. The Bank Rework Taster is what we're calling it, which is essentially... in a nutshell, what is this update planning to do in regards to that?
Yeah, I mean, so when we released the year ahead, obviously there were some people who were looking for a launch date for Bank Rework, who were eager to see that we'd started work on it again, because some work has begun on it. What we know, and everybody knows, nothing has changed, that it is still, we can't do both mobile and Bank Rework. There are certain resources that are dependent on mobile. So what we decided to do was look at the project with the view to what can we take from it and launch early that isn't dependent on Bank Rework. I know that you could see that as batching. I don't want us to... I hate that. A batching to me is arbitrary splitting something so we can get 2 updates out of it. That's not what's happening here. This is a case of we can bring you something earlier while the other thing has been locked away. We can do this. So the content is... There's a lot of good stuff there. There's kind of presets on the main game screen. There's Django. Why
these ones in particular? Why these particular things?
I know a lot of people want bank placeholders.
Yes.
So bank placeholders is what a lot of people mean when they hear Bank Rework.
Yep.
And that is specifically what we do not currently have engine commands to do. So we need the people who know the nuts and bolts of making the game. And we can't just bring somebody in and they know how RuneScape works. That takes a degree of experience and time spent working here. So as much as we'd love to splash some cash and get some new engine developers here, that would still take months and months, potentially exactly the same amount of time. Sorry, where am I going with this? Placeholders requires those people.
Right, and do we know when it's coming out now? The reason I'm asking this is because in the video and on the news post, there were 2 different dates given for this. So which one is the right one?
So we are still hunting. The reason why it was different in there was we originally had it in January and we filmed it as in January. Unfortunately, we got individual people like James, Mod Raven, filmed the February to April section. And as soon as it looked like it was getting like we'd have to move it to maybe February, like we couldn't commit to it being in January, we couldn't reshoot because it was a different person.
So can we just blame you then?
Yeah, you can come in for a reshoot.
Sure, why not?
What I'm trying to say is we are endeavouring to get it in January, but it might creep into February.
Got it.
I know that's the first update going back, but yeah.
And is Victor Trader still coming between January and February?
Victor Trader is in January.
In January?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Next
with
up,
Hattie and
with
Skull.
Hattie and
It's
Skull.
got that lovely kind of bonus XP double bill.
So is Hattie and Skull coming very soon then? Is that safe to say? Cool. All right. I've got Kelpie in the background.
Occasionally grumbling at us.
There is something else in January which we're going to show, which is the Aura Bag, which is obviously very, very exciting. Now for this, normally, you know, we have the developer of the project come on and show it off. In this case, Mod Edge is ill at the moment. So I'm going to just, when the computer's set up, I'm going to head over there and just kind of show it off very quickly, and hopefully I do okay.
You can
showing it
well. Yeah.
So it should be good fun. So very much looking forward to that. So no, it's just log in and then I can go from there. All right, I'm
Good
gonna
luck.
throw
Good
it
luck,
over to you because you need to fill the time because otherwise we'll get
All right, go on.
come up with anything. Talk about anything.
So
Oh,
the story of Aura Bag was obviously we initially pitched it. Mod Harrison put together something that was an item.
Yeah, at the time it was an item.
Very specifically why it was called Aura Bag.
Yep, that's true.
So now we're looking to do it more kind of interface.
Yeah, I think it's
oriented.
called Aura Management Interface.
Yeah.
Aura Management, maybe the name, I think.
Yeah, we've shown this a couple of times within content showcases and things like that.
Yep.
Once.
Sorry, we've
Only
shown it
once.
once in content showcase in its new form. But Shawnee's going to take us through, so there'll be some kind of showing what you may already know, but I believe there have also been changes based on feedback as well. The important ones, a lot of people were concerned about it being accessible or usable during combat.
Yep, that's been changed, so that's all good now, yep.
Yep. And we've had to integrate, obviously, the new Aura from Premier Club as well. But that's all in there. How are you doing, Shawnee?
I think we are
Before
good to
I
go.
ramble.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, okay, so over to the man in the chopper.
Thanks, Osborne. Hello, everyone. So for this, I can't give you a full run-through of it, because unfortunately I wouldn't be able to do a really good job compared to Mod Edge. But just to clarify a couple of things, you can see in my chat box in the bottom left that there is a message which says all Aura objects have been removed and have been added to the Aura management interface. Now, obviously, with this, Auras as an object will cease to be. You will save yourself a ridiculous amount of bank space for that. For my account in particular, I have saved, well, let's have a look, via this button. I've saved 12 bank spaces, so that's obviously really nice to have, and this is the Aura management interface. You can move it around as you wish, and as Ryan mentioned, you can do your combat while having this interface open, so feel free to pick and choose however you wish. And let's kind of run this down very quickly. So we have our filtered categories, so we have auras that you don't own, so these are auras I don't own, for example. You can purchase them. I don't have points because obviously I don't have enough points to buy them for some reason. And then we have our skilling, we have our combat, we have favorites. Now with favorites, anything that you really like using, for example, if you love your accuracy from from Magic, then of course you can favorite that. And when you favorite it, it will go into here. Now, when it's in here, you'll be able to right-click this little button here and activate that aura there and then. So you can close this interface. And if you decide, hey, even though I'm in a melee setup, hey, I want to use magic accuracy for some reason, you can right-click activate it, and it'll activate it straight away for you. Then you can just go about and do your stuff. You don't have to. Who's PMing me from Jagex? Who is that? Anyway, someone's PMing me. I don't know who that is. So you can do that and swap out as much as you wish. So if you like doing your Jack of I think it's Jack of Trades, the aura, I can't remember. Yeah, and swapping out, you can go from there. You can do it. There's also little settings as well. So you can have auras shown in a list view. So if you don't want to go by the icons, you can just see them right there. You can see that my Runic Accuracy aura is now active via the color. It's favorited via the color, and it'll tell you when that timer, when it recharges via the timer. So feel free to check this out. Of course, you can look at Viswax. You can extend your aura via that, and if you have the aura refreshes, it will also work with this interface too. Really? What is this? Everyone's deciding to PM me now. Anyway, so we have this for you. We also have this warning message. So just to clarify this one, so if we were to activate, let's say, our Reverence aura, and then we go to deactivate it, you'll get a message. You can toggle that off if you want to by going on hide dismiss aura messages. So if I do that again, it will then just take it straight off. So, you know, less boxes, which is always nice. And then finally, you can have the aura management interface open straight up on your favorite auras if you want to. So when you click on it, it'll take you straight to your favorite auras, and then you can go from there. So in essence, the favorites tab, I believe, goes up to 10. I might be wrong. Let's give this a try really quickly. So many auras we can get to. It would probably help if I can actually click the star properly and not double click it. And then we'll go from there. And obviously, for people who have a lot of loyalty points, a lot of auras, you'll probably have way more auras. So hopefully this cleans up a lot more space in your bank and becomes a little bit more useful for you. So we just added a load of auras to our favorites, and then you can just right-click and activate any one you want from here. So if I want to do fishing, I can activate it. OK, I'm tired of fishing. Let us get a little bit of lifesteal via vampirism, and then we activate that. So it works really handy. It's pretty awesome. Mod Edge has done a good job, and again, he would do a much better job of showing this off than me, probably. And of course, you can search the auras up here if you want to. But yeah, hopefully that kind of does it. Everyone is just deciding to PM me. This is ridiculous. I'm going to get ready to get off this now because everyone's deciding to PM me for some bizarre reason. Because, of course, this is all the time to do it. But in all seriousness, as Osborne mentioned, January for Aura Bag. This is hype. I think that's safe to say. Can't wait for it. Mod Edge and the Ninja team have done a great job with this. So, yeah, we cannot wait for it. And I think that'll do for now. So we'll go back to the couch and talk a little bit about that and everything else coming up.
Yeah, that looks really good. I'm chuffed with that. Sorry about the whispering. My mum told me never to whisper. And
were you getting picked up on? Were you getting picked up on whispering?
Yeah, we're getting picked up on whispering. We were trying to figure out why everybody was talking about Zezma. We were thought, you know, like
if they're doing at Zezma, that indicates he's probably in the Twitch chat somewhere. If I'm
right. Great present, amazing.
If I'm to guess, anyway. Hi Kelpie, how you doing? Did you have a lovely Christmas?
Yeah, it was all right.
That's the best you get from him.
Yeah, it was a lovely Christmas. All right, let us jump into it. So we'll talk about February 2018 and beyond now. So we're going to just rattle through stuff and let's just go for this. So how exhaustive is the list of updates mentioned in the year ahead video?
Yeah, I think that was the most abundant comment that came out the back of the year ahead was, oh, this is a bit light. I was expecting a bit more, or oh, this is a bit familiar. Please do remember or realise that this is an exhaustive list of every update we're going to do for the year. I think, if we were to apply a percentage, like January is locked. We know what we're producing in January, outside of maybe bank updates squeaking into February. We'll ignore that. But like your February to April is probably 60% of the content that is going to be there. There are still updates that sneak in there that we want to. No, sorry. Not necessarily surprise you with, but there are Ninja updates that go in there. There are a few larger projects that we just don't feel confident in talking about right now.
Mm-hmm. So last year, obviously, we took early last year, we took the approach of trying to be sneaky and secretive.
That's not the case.
We're not doing that anymore.
No.
Okay.
It just means that it will arrive in a content showcase. Maybe we will show it there and then. It's just that if we announce it, say somebody's working on it now behind the scenes, and there are a lot of updates that we didn't put in the year ahead, and we determine it's not good enough. We want to remove that from the work and what is being worked on right now without disappointing people who are looking forward to it. So it's about getting the right time for talking about something.
Can I just confirm very quickly the list for January, just so players are aware? So just say yes or no, just so I get this right, just to clarify. Skill outfit, head add-ons, and the elite divination outfit, obtainable via in-game, endgame replayability. Aura bag, the backroom of bolts, and maybe the bank rework taste, or is the bank rework taste definitely January?
Yeah, so that we're endeavouring to get it for January. But
okay, right. So everything, but maybe that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, just wanted to clarify that.
Hattie and Skull as well.
Oh yeah, Hattie and Skull, apologies.
With Victor Trader going with.
And Victor Trader as well. So there you go, that's kind of January in a nutshell. Nice. Yeah. In regards to the updates mentioned, obviously not an exhaustive list, why were the updates that were announced so familiar? As in, why didn't we announce anything new?
So this is going back to a little bit what you were saying about the surprise. That what we're looking to do is, as soon as something becomes something we're confident that we want to launch, we just show the hell out of it. So it gets on content showcases and on live streams. We're transparent about what we want to do with it, maybe poll it perhaps. And that means that we reach things like year aheads and RuneFest. Like, you know, we had the same problem with RuneFest, and you have this kind of awkward situation where people know a lot of the things you're working on. So we do have some hype things that aren't quite ready for talking about. They'll be coming in the next few weeks or so. But hopefully there was still enough there that was kind of interesting and new. I mean, we hadn't talked about Brimhaven Agility, high level of Brimhaven Agility. We hadn't talked about rebuilding Edgeville and Needle Skips. There are a few things there that were still a bit of a surprise, and they will just happen over the course of the year.
Awesome. All right. Sorry, can we?
We are learning from our mistakes as well.
Yeah.
Like, we're often too quick to talk about something because we're really excited about it and really want to be like, hey guys, like, look what we're making, sort of thing. But we all know that as a through a project's length, sort of thing. There's things happen. Like maybe it's feedback on the project. Some things you don't do so well.
Yeah.
There's like or bag. Or there's just some other stuff where like someone's ill in another team or something like that. Something else comes up, or just things happen, like and changes have to be made.
Nobody wants another RuneFest 2016. I mean, I was up on stage, shouting about those updates because that's what we wanted to do for the year. And expansions were going to be a vehicle for a few of them. We were really up for it, but like so much changed over the course of it that you just look back at that list and you can't help but just kind of hide your head a little bit. And so we want to be really confident that what we're producing is good and is coming out.
I guess a good way of we want to get the ground running with a lot of stuff before we shout about it, because we don't know. We need to do the research into what could potentially be issues, whether like engine becomes a thing. There are a lot of stuff like that, but I mean, I'm always excited to talk about my stuff, but sometimes I have to.
Was that the approach you took with deep sea fishing? Is that safe to say? In regards to you don't want to shout about it until you're pretty sure it can be done. Was that the approach with deep sea fishing?
I think I shouted about that at RuneFest. So it was from RuneFest last year, which was. Basically, at that point, it was in prototype stage, so maybe that was a bit early to realistically, from my point of view, to talk about it because there's a lot of prototype stuff, so things can change. But we're telling people, telling the guys that this is what we're going to be working on. There are positives and negatives to it, but like as Mod Kelpie said, we are learning from previous mistakes.
Cool. What are your thoughts on finally delivering the Floor 61 saga to us this year?
I know there are some people who'd love to do it. It was the problem with Floor 61 all previously was always, wait, have we already told that story? Are we just repeating ourselves? But I think there's some really good answers for how you could tell a strong, fresh story with it.
I think people who really want to do something with it also really want to do a lot of other things as well. So it becomes on their kind of list of, well, what actually do you want to do the most, and also then what players want and what they're looking for, and and other factors, sort of thing, and what's kind of like best for the game, sort of thing. So we're adding variety and stuff.
But there's a kind of a list of updates that we want to work on, and it's on that list. It's not one of the unfinished business ones that we've just kind of really moved to the side. Like Church of You, I don't think really is considered to be on our backlog, for example.
Definitely not.
How dark can we expect Pieces of Hate to be?
I asked Mod Rowley this. He said 8, but didn't give a scaling system.
All right, okay.
It's not like the darkest quest. Let's be fair. It's it should be fairly true to the Pirate series. Some silliness, some weirdness, some existential terror, that kind of thing. I'm saying nothing.
Are we expecting the areas that are used in Pieces of Hate to have any graphical reworks for them?
We are not planning on graphically reworking them. No.
You're looking for more of a character perspective, aren't you?
We're looking. So we've got some character reworks coming in that look awesome, and we might, if we have some time, touch up like a bit of lighting or some textures. But we're not going to be doing a full rework of the areas. No.
Cool. If the bank rework is going to be started after mobile, and mobile is in later this year, does this mean the bank rework could possibly be at the start of 2019 instead of this year?
In truth, we don't know, because with mobile, with bank, these big kind of technical projects, we can't say for sure when we'll be done by, because you discover new things along the way. With these big projects, you start off on the project and you kind of map out what you think you need to do, and you start working on it, and as you start working on it, you discover that, oh, actually, there's more stuff, like, oh, we haven't thought about that, we haven't thought about that, and that all adds to the kind of backlog of work you need to do to deliver it. And so as you go on the project, you inevitably gets longer and sort of thing, and until we've kind of released it and getting to that point, we can't.
We're going to do our damnedest though, like everything we can do.
I mean,
we don't want that hanging over us.
Yeah, it's a matter, like, don't get us wrong, it's like, a really big desire. And we learned some stuff from doing, like, the bank rework, the kind of, like, the first go of it, and there were some things that kind of really dragged the project out, and we've kind of, like, learned from that, so that being able to stop it and kind of focus on mobile means that when we go back to the bank rework, we should set ourselves up in a better way to achieve it sooner rather than later.
And hey, we've done some stuff early, so that's taken it off the end product.
A little bit. Doesn't quite look like that. A little bit.
Will you start polling more updates? You promised more polls, yet only released 3 polls since the poll rework.
Yeah, that's one of the problems is that Ninja didn't quite get through the things that they polled as quickly as they would have liked. They've been kind of pulled apart with, like, aura bags and various other things. So we don't want to do another set of polls until we've really got through those. It's not going to be too much longer. I mean, we've got the Magic Carpet interface, for example, just went in this week. They're going to chew through them, and then we'll do another set of Ninja polling. One thing that I wanted to mention was, obviously it's not just down to Ninja. We want this to be culturally, like, all of our teams looking to do polls where it's suitable. And Minigame Hub for me, I'm talking to Mod Hunter, who's the dev on the project at the moment. Yeah, we should and will be polling a lot of stuff from that. Yeah.
We have we're going to put a straw poll in this chat, and now just to clarify a few things, obviously the results from this will not determine anything. No. We're using this to kind of give us a taster, I guess, dare I say, of what to expect before we run an official in-game poll.
This absolutely is not determining which projects we might remove with the Minigame Hub. It might help us in terms of, like, what threshold we put on the poll. Maybe we don't want to put every single minigame on that poll. Like, we only want to put the in danger mini-games, I guess. So it might help us in a little way, but really, we just want to get a sense of which mini-games people would like to rip out. Are we going to
release a video where, like, a JMod takes a mini-game?
Defend a mini-game. I'm going to defend Conquest, damn it.
All right, let's pop that in the chat, JD. All right, there we go. So we'll come to that in just a little bit, and we'll have a look how it's doing. So about the Minigame Hub, where will it be accessible from, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, that's what we're chatting about now, actually. That's probably one of the biggest questions. Because for me, personally, I have real concerns about a kind of surface world game as Grotto. Yeah. I feel like that's a bit amusement parky. I think that takes up ideally we'd have this accessible from various points in RuneScape. So does that mean we're dumping it into the free area? I think even Shattered Worlds had that feeling of this felt a bit tacked on. So then it's like, okay, if we're not doing that, what are we doing? Is it somewhere that's off-world but is accessed by a lodestone, so it goes on the lodestone map? Is this, like the wardrobes you get on holiday events, is it accessible from various hubs? We need to talk that round and get that right. But yeah, I have problems with it being in that dense free-to-play world.
Before I jump onto this next topic, because there's a couple of questions inside it, can we have a look at how it's doing, if that's okay? Yeah. The poll.
It's a long poll. I don't know if anybody's been able to complete it yet.
It's true. All right, let's jump on this one. Let's jump on Clue Scroll, the Clue Scroll rework. Got a couple of questions here. We have answers from Mod Days, who isn't here, but very kindly given us answers. So I'll throw this over to you. And we'll go from there. Any hints about the Master Clue Scrolls, what they will involve, and how complex will they be?
Master is going to feature a mix of old and new. There will be classic clue types, like emotes and anagrams, but there'll also be new types of clues as well. There'll also be 2 new puzzle boxes that you'll need to solve. We've been playing those new types of puzzles in our kind of play testing time, and they're really good, like really good.
I don't think,
we haven't shown them.
Yeah, we haven't shown them, so don't.
No, we have definitely not shown them, but that's the first time. Carry on, by all means.
How will the master clues be intricuded, like from Drops and PVM? So you'll be able to get them from master clues, be able to get master clues as high-tier PVM drops and from high-level skilling. Okay. You'll also be able to spend a new currency, so do a number of clue scrolls to get this currency that you can then use to purchase or guarantee a treasure trail of a master clue. So do that directly. Will there be any new rewards to the other tiers of clue scrolls? So not just master. The majority of new rewards will be from master tier. There are a few rewards that will come in lower tiers. So I think we showed the Robin Hood outfit before.
Yes, we did.
Yep. So obviously, because Robin Hood hat is not from Master Tier, it suits being on those lower tiers. So yeah.
There was a good Reddit thread after the year ahead where they were speculating.
Yeah, the image that was shown.
They paused the video to see all the rewards in the Master Tier category, but of course they're all like placeholder objects. So there's
Mimic Helm. The Mimic Helm as a reward. No,
I'm still determined.
All right, so let us. I have something here which just says update on mobile. Is there meant to be leaning on to something here?
Hi.
I just have something that says update on mobile.
Oh, really?
So I'm going to come over to you.
Hi. I wasn't expecting this.
So you did the combat
would you
beta,
like to
didn't
know?
you?
Well, okay, so
we did a little test at the start of December where we tried out a new interface, mobile-specific kind of top-level interface, which had like a combat mode which you could open and close depending if you're actually in combat or not. We put that out to a very small group of players because we're just looking for some very basic kind of feedback. We got some survey results in. Generally, we kind of asked people a load of questions out of 5. Generally, we were kind of around about the 3 level on a lot of stuff. We got written feedback from them, so we got some ideas, some good ideas on what we need to kind of look.
I think a lot of it was focused on like chat. Chat was problematic.
Yeah, there was. I mean, some of the issues we have is that we don't have. There's some certain things that we're like the kind of more content team are waiting for from the client team, the technical guys, and that involves things like interface scaling, which would solve a lot of the kind of feedback issues that we're having on buttons being too small and stuff. We've got swipe events, so the actual ability to you can hide your mini map and your chat and stuff, and currently you have to click the buttons or you have to hold it and stuff like that, whereas really we just want to swipe it in and out really quickly. And then like the right click menu where when you right click on stuff, and that's really difficult. Mobile, I mean, if anyone's gone to like the Lumbridge bank chest or whatever and tried to right click or whatever and you just see the massive list and you can't have that like that on mobile. So we're having to find a solution for that sort of stuff. So that's all stuff that's kind of coming in the future sort of thing. And we're going to be doing a lot more kind of like little tests, small groups of players, I mean, testing out the UI and stuff like that. And these will gradually lead to bigger tests. And hopefully have a bit more news that I can share regarding mobile in the next week or 2.
Awesome.
But I can't say anything more on that at the moment.
You guys mentioned the reducing DailyScape in the video. How are you generally planning to do this? This is kind of a question we've had, I'd say, at least over half a year now.
Yeah, one of the biggest kind of differences is that DailyScape is now like a part of our 5-year plan. It's every single update we create, we're thinking about DailyScape now through that lens. So I'm thinking about the update through the lens of DailyScape. So we don't want to add to it with anything we do. So that's a subtle shift. So the idea of a project around DailyScape has hit more of the kind of backlog. Isn't something we've got too many projects ongoing, to be fair, at the moment. So we want to make sure all of the projects we've got at the moment, things like deep sea fishing, don't add to DailyScape, but we also have just moved that onto the backlog for the moment, and another team's going to take that up soon, hopefully.
I think it's also worth mentioning that, there is different views of how DailyScape is. It's broken up into little parts, where the DailyScape includes, buying all your shop supplies and those sorts of things that people do their big round trip of the game, buying everything, or is it just, do people have concerns with, your daily cap on cash and warbands, those sorts of things? There's a lot to it, and I think overall, it's not a simple thing to solve, which is why we're talking about how not to add to it going forward, and as part of the 5-year plan, how we can, where possible, make changes as we go with other bits of content, if we can.
The retroactive changes, which will more than likely be polled anyway.
Let's spin a poll. Nice, JD, nice. So in JD's haste to try and highlight that there's a poll on us, that we have to say
We've just been showing
done the infamous Windows thing when it minimises everything.
Poll.
Anyway, have you got this, JD? Yeah. Can we get the chat up as well?
How many votes did people have in this poll?
So top vote.
As many as they wanted.
As many as they wanted. So which mini games would you like to remove? And 10% have selected mobilising armies, and that's the highest.
Yes.
Is only 10%.
I think maybe some people didn't realise that they have multiple choices, perhaps.
I think they did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
No, but this is 10% of all the votes, I believe, I presume, anyway.
Oh, yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
So it's multiple choice, but it's still percentage of
yeah,
votes.
which
that's
means mobilising armies is definitely obviously the top, followed by.
You can't see like.
So we've got mobilising armies, then it's conquest, then it's trouble brewing, then deathmatch, Great Org Project. Oh, there's a lot of 6s.
So I'm mobilising armies. Obviously, that like there's a lot of big comp requests and stuff involved.
The
and stuff like that.
trim requirement, I believe, for mobilising armies.
A lot of people have not done it. Obviously, want to see it removed because then they don't have to do it.
I'm just going to say this right now, and this is going to sound like a jab at us, but genuinely, mobilising armies, if you're on NXT right now, it does not work.
Yeah.
So I can understand the frustration.
That's exactly why we got rid of rat pits, right? So,
yeah.
But I think there's concerns from people that that's the reason why some stuff wants to go, and also like what are your thoughts on if we're doing like a proper polling game, like should it be locked to only people who've actually engaged in those mini games?
For one, that's going to be really difficult to do a poll where individual options are locked behind engagement with it and communicating that as well.
Can I see where Castle Wars is on this, please? I'm just curious because per your point, Kelpie. Yeah, Castle Wars is 5. So, and that would
obviously about midway.
That would tie in with trim as well, because some people obviously don't want to do the trim requirement for it.
Yeah, but the most loved is interesting too, because pest control, shifting teams, Barb Assault, which I was surprised it's that high actually, just because it's so multiplayer and team oriented, it's hard to get a game. Stealing Creation and Soul Wars.
Very surprised that Trouble Brewing is as high as it is, if I'm honest. I think Trouble Brewing as a pie is very fun to play, but obviously can get a bit frustrating.
Yeah, we've got to keep that in mind. Like, that might suit a minigame hub. You might get more games, and if it's at its core is a good game, what do we do about that? So we will choose a suite of things to put to a poll. We'll just be kind of intelligent about it.
We'll get JD to put the link in the chat for everyone so you can see the results for yourself. So we'll pop the straw poll in the chat. Let's jump over to more questions. Will the Giant Mimic be available to free players as well? Well, no. The Giant Mimic content is members-only content, so only members can access the content inside it.
Thank you for explaining members only.
So mean to him.
So this whole New Year stuff, yeah?
My resolution to be nice to you.
Yeah, right. Imagine.
The world has been too nice to you recently, I feel like.
What the? Wow. All right. I see where we're going here. All right. I'm throwing you this question. You can deal with this question. When will we see any updates about the rework of Treasure Hunter?
Oh, ouch.
Here we go. Let's do this.
You scumbag.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Whew. Whew. So, that thing.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, it's still ongoing. So yes, we are still looking to.
So let's take a step back here.
Yeah.
When we talked about in the posts and stuff, that was obviously a couple of months back. So this isn't like an instant thing, is it? It's definitely going to be.
No, I mean I know it's frustrating to a lot of people because the ideal is that we kind of give some detail on it and where it is. The thing is that kind of. What was going to be potentially a small change, like a series of small changes, but keeping the format of Treasure Hunter, we might look to do something more wholesale, something bigger.
Okay.
And so that's when I said in the previous live stream, we were going back to the drawing board. It was the sense that actually we were making it bigger. We could look at things like the keys that you get. We're looking at kind of the loyalty program. There are a number of things that just looking at the stuff we give, particularly surrounding Treasure Hunter, daily engagement, that sort of thing. So we're going back to the drawing board in the sense of we want to make it bigger, we want to do a better job of it. We're looking at what the whole industry is doing right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry that we haven't got anything at the moment. I'm hoping we're going to be able to communicate something in the next few weeks, month.
Excuse me. I do enjoy. I enjoy the current promo ongoing at the moment. I think it's really cool. I think that I love trying to get.
That's the example of the experimentation we're talking about. So particularly within February, we're talking about experimenting more with kind of promo lengths, frequency of promos, just playing around with it and seeing what that does, seeing how people like them, and also the kind of promotions that we do with cosmetics and.
Are we just watching feedback for that one then?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can expect, for example, this month us trying out the bingo card formula again, see if that works. It's just toying around with it and look on the back end to see how well they work.
Cool. Which quarter is Group Iron Man expected? Me and my friend can't wait to do it as a duo.
So, now you mention that. So I know that obviously Moderaman talks a lot about Group Iron Man. He's also talking a lot about Solak right now. So I know that his next thing, as far as I'm aware, that he wants to be working on is Group Iron Man.
Awesome.
Which will be after he finishes Solak. There's a lot of comments in the chat saying, give us update on Solak. I can tell you he's probably upstairs right now working on Solak.
Yep.
So
he's got sheets of drawn out little mechanics.
Yeah, he does actually. Yeah.
Like pencil crayon.
Yeah, just like Solak falling, and it's very hard to understand his great drawings. But yeah,
we wonder whether or not to put them as murals in the area.
We should put them on the wall. Yeah, that'd be good. But yeah, so Group Iron Man is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I know that Moderaman definitely wants to be working on it, unless anyone else plans to be picking it up. There have been conversations already in regards to the various things to do with how many numbers, etc. There is no decision on that yet, and I know that before a decision is made and goes into implementation, we will, let the players know.
Yeah, of course.
Especially those that already participate in Iron Man, they will have their own views on it. But ultimately, we want to get the best experience we can out of that.
Yeah.
I do, unless ModKelpie has any arguments against me, but I'm pretty sure that it is something we want to be working on as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Moderaman being the one that wants to currently work on it.
Because I know there are a lot of questions about, like, can you convert an Iron Man to it?
Yeah.
What happens if somebody leaves my group? How we handle that?
Yep.
So we just need to answer those in design.
I got a note here, which in bold, actually, which says clarify bigger on Treasure Hunter. When you gave your answer, what do you mean by bigger?
So we could look at just... I don't want to commit. It's really hard to talk it round. It gets really political because and whatever you say pops out of my mouth suddenly becomes a promise, and I've got to be really careful. So the scale of the rework initially was going to be relatively small. It was all within the boundaries of that kind of treasure hunter system. Opening chests and maybe perhaps a number of chests. The fact that you use keys to do so and you get those keys a number per day. All of these things, we would look at those on a smaller scale. The idea was that actually looking at how the industry is going, looking at more broadly, we want to pull back a little bit more. Like, why does it have to be in that kind of format? Could it be something very, very different? So I know that's all very fluffy. I'm not giving any detail at all. It's just basically the scope of it is increased. And that scope has also taken in things like loyalty program as well.
Cool. I'm just going to read a quote which is from the video, which says, and we want clans to feel a little more competition with each other. And this person then said, from asking many clan leaders, I feel this is very contentious. Can you please clarify what the statement means?
I guess the statement was a little bit confusing in that it sounds like direct competition, like we're making clan battlefields like, central to how clans work or something like that. That's not the case. It's more of a case that we want clans to feel like they have an identity, and then they can also compare against each other. They can look at, that might be high score work, very simple like that. But I also am a fan of clans feel like they own a server, a world. Like, this is their world because they do the most work on here. And like other clans could try to come in and maybe, perhaps take over that server, maybe not, that might feel a bit too contentious. But it's that kind of level. So not in direct competition, it's just that you can feel like you're part of a clan and you can feel like you can look at how others are doing in comparison.
There was no mention of individual avatars for clan members or the removal of orts. Will you be looking into this?
Do you want to answer this?
Yeah, I can. I can't answer why there was no mention of it. I didn't.
Yeah.
Why was there no mention? You can answer that bit.
This is when I was talking about 60% of the updates that we're going to do in certain periods we talked about. Like, this is one where we don't have a definite release period for it.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Just because of pulling back the curtain a little bit.
Look at him just playing.
The biggest blocker we have outside of engine and platform and client is QA testing, is testing.
Yes.
We have so many projects that are being created and not enough room to properly test and get it absolutely right.
So I'm going to clarify everything in regards to this the clan avatar rework, and this is why it's going to take time, and it's understandable. One being that obviously the clan system in the way it works right now is that each clan has 3 avatars essentially, and those can only be used by 3 members. This now makes avatars available to everyone, but with that we've used this as an opportunity to bring in other improvements as well. That's a fundamental change to the core of clans, and that's why essentially when it comes to testing we have to make sure everything's right, because clans is something we don't ever want to get wrong, because it's quite horrible to try and fix the stuff, because there's a lot of clan variables, and they're very, they can be a real pain if obviously we get them into a state, which we never want to do. But it's exciting. I can't wait for it. I just want to get it out, but obviously we've got to do a full QA test
You're
what
absolutely
comes
right.
out of it.
I feel so bad for our QA team because there's, from the dev side and from like my side, lead design side, I'm hammering and going like, we want to up quantity, we want to have more updates. Can you give us more updates? And then they are looking at the updates that go out and hating it when they put something out that has had a bug or issue that has led to negative feedback. And so they're rightly pushing back on us to make sure things are done well.
How many quests can we expect this year besides Pieces of Hate? And then I'm going to save the second question for Raven in a second. But how many quests can we expect this year besides Pieces of Hate?
I think, including Pieces of Hate, like we'll be looking to do a minimum of 6.
Fair.
So yeah, it's how much we can grow it from there. Like that's what I feel is. So when we did the survey, admittedly this is to the mainstream. Like story players would argue this, and they're going red in the face that 6 isn't enough. But like when we did the survey, 6 was that sweet spot. But we have got a lot of passionate developers who would like to roll out some others on top of that. We'll see how it goes.
Any of them likely to be rite of passage?
Of course, that was going to be.
Will Safe Kraken be AFK? First question, and I have a follow-up depending on the answer here.
Yeah. Do you consider Elder Trees to be AFK? It's one of those weird things that we use the term semi-AFK, which doesn't help at all.
Yeah, it's not AFK. I wouldn't say. Like, there's a lot of moving around.
So does it kind of still come across how it was presented at RuneFest, which was basically raiding old fortresses and finding relics to kind of...
That's really odd. Like that wasn't how I read it, how it was presented. I don't think. I don't remember any kind of raiding fortresses or. Well, it's more castles and keeps.
You have to remember as well that the concept art image was someone on a rope coming down into a fortress as such, right?
Yeah,
in the
it was
chest.
effectively yelps coming.
Yeah, but I mean, you can kind of get where that impression.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's relatively simple update. This is what we were talking about. Like we can do simple plugins to a skill. We don't have to overdo it.
Yeah.
And this is a nice kind of. It sits in that spot between elf pickpocketing and pyramid plunder, I'd say, where there's a little bit of interaction, a little bit of strategy, but also a little bit of AFK. So you can have that time. You can relax, but then you're in and deciding which castle to go to next. Yeah. It's got a kind of perk system similar to Aquarium, in that you are unlocking things that benefit you in the wider thieving. So it's got a nice kind of meta to it too. Yeah, it's been good.
Earlier, a construction update about moving rooms in houses was shown. Is it coming back? I assume this is referring to when Mod Doctor showed it off back at the Summer Summit in May 2016, I think.
That sounds rehearsed. You did not just think of that, did you?
No, no, genuinely. I saw the question, and then I tried to rattle my mind of when we last showed it. I think it was May or June 2016. Yeah. I remember it pretty well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's May.
But yeah, is there any update on that at all?
If we did a construction rework, it wouldn't necessarily be in that format.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very much on our backlog.
You kind of mentioned it earlier, but what about changes to the loyalty point system? How is that coming along?
Yeah, we need to talk this round a little bit because like we wanted to do some loyalty changes early this year. Particularly, there was a lot of comments about how certain auras are being like you have to have a PVM, for example.
There's an aura problem in regards to loyalty points.
Yeah, and so if a whole loyalty change is wrapped up in what we're looking to do with Treasure Hunter, and that all goes back. That's not because, by the way, that we're suddenly going to start selling auras. That's not necessarily. That's not going to be true. It's just now we're starting to think about what about those smaller changes? Do we break that away from that project and do that earlier? So that's all I've got to say at the moment. I think. Sorry.
That's fine. Any plans for character model rework, especially with mobile around the corner? Player models are starting to look very outdated.
I think I've talked about this in a few live streams ago, towards the end of last year. We are making. There's a number of improvements we need to make to like our tools and just the way we're making models and stuff before we get to the point where we do a character graphical remodel. It's definitely something we want to do. A recent step has been moving animations over to Maya. So we were using some kind of more archaic in-house tool before then that was really quite awful to use. Well, especially compared to industry standards. I'm sure like back in the day it was quite good and stuff. But yeah, so that was the first step. And then that means that we're doing like proper animations and stuff. There's a few other stages before then, but then there will hopefully be a time well, we should get to the time, not hopefully. Like the plan is to get to a point where we can then do a character remodel sort of thing, and then we've got to figure out how we.
And we're building relationships with external companies a bit more. Like in the past, we've done a lot of all of our art has been produced by the artists that we have in the building. But yeah, we're getting a bit more welcome. Like a lot of Menefos was done with external agencies. Like this is a good project to start working through because there's so much stuff. Yeah. And we're only adding to it year by year. Like with the outfits and cosmetics and things like that. So we'd love to attack it.
We could do something right now, but it would be an awful lot of work, and we'd only want to change it again because it wouldn't mean we could do like facial feature type stuff, and other bits and pieces, and I don't know, women's knees will probably still be wrecked.
The women's knees update. Yeah, I mean, they need it. They need
it. So it's to do a proper project. We're not doing it now, so we can do a proper project. It's not anytime soon, to be honest, but in the future that will allow us to do a proper character model rework, and then that would. It would be everything that you really want with it, sort of thing.
Cool. Are you going to remove the Reaper title from comp before Solak's release?
So I know that Kyle, sorry, Moderaman, Kyle, everyone knows he's called Kyle. So I know that he brought it up. He wanted to, he wants to design Solak to be the best it can be in regards to the entire fight. I know that to be honest, the answer is no, I don't know. But I know it's definitely been something. To be honest, I'll go upstairs and I'll ask him what the deal with that is. Sure. I don't know what the deal is with the big overall.
Like, if we were to rush the comp cape, really all of these comp cape changes that we want to do should be polled and done very transparently, and that takes a bit of time. Like if we
still have to decide ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. We want to rush that before Solak. So it comes at an unfortunate time, and I don't think we should necessarily delay Solak for it. But that doesn't mean we can't change that retroactively.
Why has Pet Pack been forgotten?
It's not that it's been forgotten.
Okay, I guess
it's
just lower down, I guess, in terms of like all the stuff we talk about, all the many things to talk about, and how we want to try to get 6 quests and all these sorts of things. I think there's a lot more. A lot more projects that are wanted than this. And it's just further down. I wouldn't say it's been forgotten by any means.
I feel it comes under the RuneFest 2016 stigma.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. If there's one benefit that's come from RuneFest 2016 talk, that obviously has caused us a lot of pain, is that we got to air a lot of projects and see what the reaction was to them. And you know what? We aired Pet Park, and outside of a couple of people on my Twitter feed, there's not been a great deal of interest in it. I think largely because we didn't sell what it was doing. Like theoretically, the theme's quite nice, but like, what is it doing for me? And I think that's where the biggest gap is.
I think there was one player did share a design on Reddit over the holidays and stuff. So yeah, I mean, like with all these things, if you disagree and stuff like that, then do let us know, sort of thing.
Any news on other updates that have been mentioned before but weren't in the year ahead? There's a couple here, so we'll just rattle through them. Hostilius.
Talk to Mod Pie about that one.
Very much his passion project, kind of a tap project.
That's a tap project because he is obviously, for those who know, he's working on mobile, and obviously mobile is a big thing, and that's currently his tap project sort of thing.
The player being a Slayer Master.
I know that Mod Days also wants to look more into that as part of his tap.
Nice.
I imagine that if he looks into it and looks more into it, could be a thing that gets pulled into like core work, but I know he's definitely looking into that in tap.
It's something some other people have looked at as well. I know my team have been going, ooh. So it's yeah.
I can't imagine Mod Rowley doing that. But yeah.
Okay, he didn't quite do. I went. He went.
Musical rates.
I still want to do Penguins in Space brackets, the musical close brackets, because I think it's amazing. But I think I would change it from being a raid. I'd probably make it into a little city quest or something rather than the full-on raid.
Just for people not aware, this was a project from Game Jam of 2017, if memory serves me correctly, which was just...
This is what happens when you leave Mod Deg and I
and Mod Grace, I believe, was there?
And Mod Grace to just create something whilst going slowly mad from... Because I think none of us had slept properly previously anyway, so we were all really exhausted before even starting the Games Jam, and then we were just like... I think we all snapped.
I love doing a rap for you as well.
Yes, there was a rap.
Got rap. We recorded that.
There is the song. I did have it on my phone, but my phone didn't update and deleted it.
And we've got it on the drive still. We'll have it on the network somewhere.
I'm going to dig it out. It's going to go in game at some point.
Oh lordy!
People are crying out for it. Forget
Indeed.
Pet Park. It's all
Clearly,
about that rap.
by there being a question there, it is like the most important update ever. Let's drop pieces of hate onto musical.
Can I have a disclaimer in these streams from now on? Honestly. Murder Mystery Quest, which we now know is
Needle Skips.
So, yeah, where are we at with that?
Yeah, I am so chuffed. I honestly didn't think it would ever come out. It was something that we just wanted to try out, Mod Krista and I, because we wanted to see if the game could handle basically becoming a search engine, hosting a Google search engine, and who knew it could. And then fitting a narrative around that has been like something really interesting to me, because also it's a very personal story, trying out some things that we haven't done for a while in narrative and in quests, and it's coming out, and who knew? There's a lot of work that needs to be done though. The main thing being that it's still quite complex. So a person just wandering into this quest needs to have a bit more of a tutorial at the start. So we're going to work on some initial stages for that.
Sure.
It needs... what else does it need?
We need some sections plugging in, but
that's... Yeah, indeed. And because it's 3 characters and largely dialogue-oriented, then that question of voice acting rears its head. And so we've got to determine whether or not that's possible.
How did because I know
localization. That's another one as well. Imagine doing a search engine with a localized game. So we have to figure that out too.
I know there was a internal playtest recently on it. How did that go?
Well, none of them managed to finish it. That's a problem.
I got through all the bits that were working.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was hoping to make one of them cry, and it didn't happen, but I don't think you can.
I have no heart. So it was certainly more tragic than I expected.
Yes.
This is just after we had a discussion about the tone of RuneScape, and we were saying how we should,
Oh, you're a fine person to talk about the tone of RuneScape.
Well, no, we were talking about the idea of having serious plot lines, but with kind of comical ways of getting to it, which is very RuneScape feel. And then we were at that, and we're like, oh. Lead
designer comes in with a full-on tragedy. yeah, a little bit of that.
It's good, though. It's a good story. I can recommend.
Referring about the tone of RuneScape, when, of course, you've been involved in quests such as Kindred Spirits and Nomad's Elegy.
What?
Well, how have the tone of them been again?
They were fine because people stopped me doing everything I wanted to do.
Yes.
They pulled back the actual torture implements and killing children. Apparently that's bad.
We still got the show. Oh, that's a quote for the stream. Jesus Christ.
Sometimes your decisions as lead designer are really easy. So when Mod Raven comes up to you, cap in hand, going, please, can I kill some children? And then you just go, no, you can't.
In my defence, it wasn't just me. It was me and Mod Wilson. Our powers combined. It would have been brilliant. Everyone's missed out now. They can't torture people.
Burthorpe Games Room update?
Yeah, I can't wait to pop the achievement after it as well, Well, anyway, let's keep going, sorry.
Oh, God. Burthorpe Games Room update.
Oh, that was a question. Oh, right, sorry, I thought you wanted to put...
No.
Put torture implements into the Burthorpe Games Room.
This is a minigame project from Mod...
ModTube started on it during the Game Jam
2017.
2017, I'm not sure where he's at with it. I know that he was, as far as I'm aware, he stopped looking at the specific of Burthorpe Games Room and was looking more into making some form of...
Open world was, I think, his intention,
memory serves me correctly. I'm aware there was some quite big technical hurdles he hit.
Right, okay.
That might actually have scuppered it altogether. I don't know.
Yeah.
You need to talk to
I think so.
That would probably make a lot of sense, all things considered.
I know, he really
he's not
went
actively working on it. It hasn't done for 10 months.
I think he hit just an impossible barrier.
The God Wars dungeon bosses graphical updates.
Sentiment towards that was so negative that we have largely parked it.
All right.
That's why we want to air things, put them out on streams like this so people can tell us, no, that's not what we like.
No, that's what?
Not what we like.
Well,
nearly slipped up.
According to the chat, people like killing children, so...
Oh, jeez.
We've managed to hit a niche, who knew? The overlap on the Venn diagram of RuneScape and killing children.
Pieces of hate will take a very different
Yep. I'll go upstairs and make some very quick changes.
We are coming to the end of the stream, just want to point that out, you can tell already. Sears Village graphical update.
Is kind of something that is kind of there. we will definitely be looking to release it. I just can't say when. We've had thoughts about whether we want to add in some kind of like event to it, sort of thing, in the same way when we updated like Valador, we had the kind of Black
Valador
Knights,
invasion,
White Knights,
Siege of Valador.
invasion and stuff. Where we did Port Sarim, we kind of had one in there as well, didn't we? With the kind of like the Ark guy, can't remember his name now, attacking sort of thing. So potentially something like that. I mean, but it's Sirius Village and Camelot, so it could be something. It could be less Sirius Village. It could be something a lot more Camelot, which I think would be really cool.
Yeah,
something involving the knights and stuff. And
Raids 2 was discussed with the release of Raid. Oops, sorry.
It doesn't have to be temporary.
Yeah.
Raids 2 was discussed with the release of Raids, but has not been talked about since. Is there any information on that?
So I think this comes back to something that I think Mod Kelpie said earlier, or maybe even Mod Osborne, but there's a lot of people that want to work on raids. The people that want to work on raids are also a lot of people that want to work on a lot of other stuff. It's one of the, you know, if I could double the amount of time I could in my life, then I would. But, you know, it's just one of those things. There is always conversations talking about what we could do for Raids 2, whether that is Mazcab related still or if it's something completely new. It always comes up, you know, I think as we mentioned earlier about the whole Floor 61, like that could be a raid, you know, something like that. There's not really anything more to say on it. I know that it's just one of those things we seem to say a lot with Raids too, is that we talk about it, but we haven't made any progress on it. We're not actively working on it, is the word. But yeah, you make me sad thinking about it, because I really want to work on Raids too. It's in the backlog. So.
Do you have plans for what lies behind the other doors in Zamorak's hideout?
Good question. So I opened the first door for Silk Creatures.
You literally went up and just opened it,
I opened it. Yeah, it wasn't very hard actually. You just push it open, pull it open. So there are no current plans. When it came to deciding to put the Stalker Creatures there in the first place, you know, I spoke with the Law Council and said, you know, could I put them here? Is there any reason why I can't? And we discussed it and we said it's okay. I think it would be cool to open up those doors because, you know, there's many things that could be happening down in there. I don't want to say where it is. But yeah, there are no current plans but I think we would like to make use of them where we can, such as with Stalker Creatures.
Nothing piques the curiosity more than a locked door in RuneScape, it seems. I just think about, was it Iorwerth House in Elf City? There's a staircase you can't go up, and then I think about, like, the Ark has got a couple.
Are you on the staircase where you do the thieving at Iorwerth? Those stairs, you can't go up them. I've never tried.
Have you never tried?
No, never tried. No, genuinely. Then why are they there?
Oh, yeah.
Because you might be able to go up them one day.
The biggest, the door, the frozen door for Nex. If you guys remember that, that was.
Actually, Ryan, while we got you on stream, can we talk about Rusty Chest, if that's okay? Have you got any more plans for that?
I think I said this last time. I did the second part of the Rusty Chest is done. It just needs localizing.
Right.
However, obviously, it's not a priority as terms of a project. I would like to get it out with deep sea fishing.
Is this your dead quest? Is this like a hidden piece of content you haven't told anybody about?
You people know about it. It's the
That's how we get around you, Dave.
It's the pass the item around, find some things. There is a second part and it is done. I just need to get it localized, so maybe I will ask.
Honestly, sneaking random Easter eggs into content, who would do such a thing?
It's in our contract as developers that we must sneak in Easter eggs.
And then I've got a final question here. Is there a possibility that questing XP could become optional?
We've done that with a lot of the sort of recent quests where we've made it so the XP is in the form of
in a lamp, yes.
So that you can choose just to delete it.
I don't know why you wouldn't want the lamp. I feel like that is optional.
It's so for.
Is it for XP within the quest itself?
Yeah, I can understand.
It doesn't happen often. So, for example, Death of Chivalry, if you open certain doors, you get some XP. I know that certain quests force you to make items, but they're few and far between.
It could also be like some of the older quests that are still direct XP conversion.
Yeah.
Although I know Stu's been going through and kind of catching them with lamps as well.
Stu's been going through what he can.
I'm a fan of turning to lamps, but
I'm a fan of turning to lamps. That kind of, it's not the biggest priority we've got because there are other things that.
And obviously, we turn them into lamps anyway, so I think we're okay on that one. Lamps is technically the optional. I mean, if you don't want the XP, just don't use the lamps. So
and I think we generally don't have much XP in quests in terms of things you encounter. So.
Yeah. All right, so that'll bring us to the end. Actually, we just hit 6 o'clock coming. Oh, well, 3 minutes past 6.
Really?
So not bad at all. Full hour and a
Leader
half.
Rob keeps on asking, can the web team work on improved APIs that they can help developers? We need better ways to track name changes. To be honest, that's probably a no. I think it is on the list of their stuff that they would like to do, but again, like that's a big list. And to be honest, as far as I'm aware, they've got more important things to do than that.
Cool. All right, so just to reiterate everything coming up in January, again, before we end the stream. So you can expect to see Hattie and Skull, you can expect to see Aura Bag, you can also expect to see the Elder Divination outfit and the head add-ons for the skilling outfits obtainable in-game. And maybe, we have to wait and see, Bank Rework Taster
Trader.
and Vic the Trader. You didn't even let me finish. Just totally just like, you were literally testing me.
I knew you'd forgotten.
What? No, I haven't. Oh,
Move
goodness. Just to clarify as well, in regards to the year ahead video, if you haven't seen it already, go check it out. But again, that is not an exhaustive list of everything. Yeah. That is just like the stuff that we think you will
The further along you go, just the less of a percentage of what is coming out there is. But it is still what I see as a year ahead.
And then, of course, we'll be dropping the loot chests in just a few moments as well. So if you happen to get one and you open it, there's a chance you'll get the LootScape. If you're an Iron Man, you won't get a chest, but if you have been eligible for LootScape, it will roll that chance. So good luck if you happen to get it, and grats. And then to end the stream, that will do. To end the stream will be done here, but we'll be hosting someone called Banks, who is actually learning to play RuneScape live on his stream. So if you stick around after stream, feel free to check out his content and make him feel welcome. So apart from that, that'll bring us to the end. It's been a very long stream, been very good though, very much enjoyed it, and I think that'll do it. So yeah, thank you for joining us, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next Monday for the game update. Take care, and have a good one.